Bookcase and Coffee presents Buzzing About Romance, a quick shot of romance.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. It is me, Becky, and with me is Leah. Hey Leah.
Hi everybody.
I really need to work on the wording here. I mean, we are the home of the awkward intro, so, staying.
Let's just roll with it. Just keep it. It works.
Staying on brand.
On brand.
So on this episode of A Quick Shot of Romance, we are reviewing Forged in Steele by Maya Banks. This is the KGI book number 7. And at this point, Leah, are you caught up completely in this series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. I was caught up like 2 days after I read this one.
So I believe there are 11 books now.
There's 11 published. Yes. Book 12 is... We don't know.
In the works. We don't know. It's been supposed to have been published since 2017. The author has been ill, and so the publication date has continually been moved out from January to October. For the last 4 years. So
yes.
As we get into this, I will say we might talk about some of the other stories, but we will try to keep it standalone and spoiler free. But just know that this is a series that, if this book even sounds slightly interesting to you, you are going to want to start at book one.
Just you don't even
deep dive in.
Sounds slightly. Just start at book 1. Well, just dive in.
Originally in May, we had talked about we were really going to focus on mom romances because it's May, but also it's like Memorial Day and Armed Forces Day. So we kind of wanted to sprinkle in some romantic suspense, but really, to be honest, military. To be honest, May kind of turned into the romantic suspense month.
I'm not sad about that.
I know you're not, but this one, as everyone teases me, I'm in the closet with my love of romantic suspense.
But these
are so good. And so these were some of my first romantic suspense. And when you read something like this, now do you know why my bar is so high?
I do. I never doubted why your bar was high. It just made me laugh because you would name a book. I'm like, that's suspense. Like, you say you don't like it.
I don't. I just have standards. It's like the only thing in my life I have standards on.
Just your romantic suspense.
Just romantic suspense. Nothing else.
Okay. Anyway, So the synopsis from Goodreads. The Kelly Group International, KGI, a super elite, top secret family-run business. Qualifications, high intelligence, rock-hard body, military background. Mission, hostage, kidnap recovery, intelligence gathering, handling jobs the U.S. government can't. Steele, a KGI team leader, is an enigma not even his teammates understand. His emotions are tightly locked down and nothing can break that icy exterior. Nothing except Maren Scofield, a doctor on a mission, a woman who has gotten under Steele's skin and threatens to crack that unflappable cool he's legendary for. Steele is determined not to allow Maren past his carefully guarded defenses, but when she's in danger, there's no way he'll allow anyone else to protect her. She's hiding something. He's sure of it. But he isn't prepared for the shocking discovery her secrets reveal or how they will forever alter the course of his destiny. He has a decision to make: hold tight and shut her out, or take a chance on something more powerful than he's ever faced: love.
So this was released June 25th of 2013.
But let me say just real quick, it does not read that like a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old book.
No, it holds up.
It reads very well. It holds up really well.
Yeah. This series in particular is one of those that, even though it's an older written one, it holds up. It's not, you don't feel like the tech is old on it. The settings are not outdated. It's just, and there is consent in this book. It is very much written, clear in consent. So
yes.
I think that that's something to remember too, because we have noticed that some older romances pre-2015, sometimes consent can be a little more implied or a little shady. This one has very clear consent in this story. So trope, protector romance, suspense, surprise pregnancy, security force. Steam level a 4 because it's sexy.
It is.
It is so sexy. Third person point of view, multiple points of view of the story. So it's written in third person, but we get a little bit of everybody, not just Steele's version, because we get Rio's, one of the other team leaders. We get
she
Garrett.
kind of, I think the first 3 books of the series, it's pretty much the 2 characters with the occasional mattering of another person. But the farther into the series you get, the more she ties in more people. But it doesn't get lost. Like you don't get confused. She transitions really smoothly between all of the character transitions, which is one thing I really liked, because when she switched, you knew she was switching.
Yeah.
Because I have read multiple books where all of a sudden you're in a different character's point of view and you don't realize it till 3 paragraphs later. And it's like, oh, that's why this doesn't make sense, because it's a different person.
Mm-hmm. So we both read this and listened. I listened to this again. It was an audiobook because this is a reread. I think this is actually probably my 5th reread of this series because it's that it. So I actually listened to this audiobook. It was read by a single male voice. But he does it really well because when he speaks Maren, he does have a more feminine lit to his voice. And when he reads for Steele, he drops it down to this super gravelly, intense voice, which is how I imagine Steele talks too.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he is the Iceman.
He is the Iceman. So this one, again, Maya Binks' books are published. I believe she is with Penguin Random House. Yeah. And they are a little more expensive in ebook form. Randomly, we'll find ones.
They're easier accessible through your library.
Yep, easily. And Hoopla. We found them on Hoopla too. So if your library has Hoopla, that's a way to check them out also. Okay, so let's talk about Steele. Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about Steele. He's an intense guy.
Jackson Steele. Okay. I mean, but nobody calls him, even Maren doesn't call him by his first name.
She does. In really important, like after she finds out his name, like there are important moments in the last few books and important moments like in this book where she busts out the Jackson, but she calls him Steele most of the time also. And
he is nicknamed the Iceman by all of the teams.
Because he's so intense, but he's so broody, but he's so stoic. Like they say that nothing affects him. Like he doesn't. He goes in, he does his up job. Or down. He's focused. Like he goes in, does his thing, he gets out.
So the way that this is set up is KGI is the Kelly family. There's 5 brothers. 6 brothers?
I don't know. I lose count.
Maybe 7 brothers. I'm like running them. There's a set of twins. No, the 3.
Sam, Garrett, Donovan, the twins.
Ethan. And then Joe and Nathan. 6.
7.
Yeah, 7. And then Rusty makes 8. Rusty's
but
a girl.
She's a girl.
And is adopted.
Yes.
So they're the 7 brothers. And they have this military security force, KGI, they have right now 3 different teams of former military sharpshooters, people that are trained especially in explosives, because there's a really funny moment with explosives in this story.
Is it this one or is it in the book before this?
No, it's in this one when they're trying to get the girl.
And that's why they stop in Costa Rica to see Maren at the
Yeah, because he got a little too close to the explosives and added some extra.
And he's the explosive guy.
Right. So yeah, Steele is super intense, super broody, very highly focused. Both he and Maren kind of have tragic pasts. Maren was raised by 2 doctors that when she was little, they lived in the States and were raised. But once they were of school age, her and her brother, her parents traveled the world, taking care of people
and taking care of people. So I wouldn't say hers was tragic, just not.
Well, not typical, but there is a point where she's a young doctor. She's gone to college, med school, starts traveling like her parents do. And she's in Africa opening a clinic, and she gets kidnapped. And that is her first interaction with KGI. Mm-hmm. She's in Africa. She gets kidnapped by
they come and save her.
Warlord. They come save her. They then relocate her to Costa Rica, where she runs a clinic there, but then also helps KGI out when they have missions.
They'll stop off in Costa Rica to have Maren treat them.
A lot of their things happen in South America, having to deal with guerrilla military forces and all that kind of stuff. So Costa Rica kind of makes sense.
It does. It's just funny. Like, let's stop off in Costa Rica.
Right. And Steele himself, his family were government diplomats for the U.S. government, and he lost his family in an embassy bombing when he was young. So, they both kind of are without roots a little bit there.
Yeah, in a way, because even like her parents still and her brother also, they're still all over the place, and she's very close with her family, so they do a lot of check-ins, they talk often. So she has a really good family dynamic, but she doesn't have a home base.
No, just her little clinic in Costa Rica and a little house, but nothing that's really permanent, and she knows that.
Yeah.
And see here. So she's in Costa Rica. She has caught the eye of a local drug lord, gangster, gun runner guy named Mendoza, who is crazy town.
Super crazy town. Like uber crazy town.
Yeah. He has decided he wants Maren, and he sends his underling to him and basically says, come with me, I want you. But she pushes him off to start with and is like, no, thank you. Not interested. In comes Steele. He walks into her little cottage because they are there because one of their guys got hurt with blow-ups and explosives and stuff.
Yes.
And so she's gone back to her cottage and left the clinic, and he walks into the cottage and he looks at her and he's like, I want us to have sex. That is a direct quote of the book, people. That's how suave he is. I want us to have sex. And it was so funny.
But then he continues to say no, these are not direct quotes, but he continues to say I'm attracted to you, but I think if we do this, I'll be
I'll get you out of my system.
I'll be okay.
Yeah. And then we can move on.
She's like, that's romantic. That's what a woman wants to hear.
Yeah. She's like, okay. So she's thinking, and she's attracted to him, been attracted to him for a while. She thinks that this is going to be a one and done herself, even though she has emotions and feelings towards him.
Yeah.
They do it. Super sexy.
Oh, yeah.
He leaves and
you don't expect him to be like that though, because he comes in very monotone. I want us to have sex, but then once they're in the moment, he is not stoic.
He is not. No, he saves all his emotion for the sexy
for that.
Time. Yeah. So they leave. They go back to the KGI headquarters, which is in Dover, Tennessee, right on Kentucky Lake. Leaving Maren in Costa Rica. And in the midst of all of him being gone, it's about a month, right? About 6 weeks.
It has to be, because she's about to take a test.
Yeah. She thinks she might be pregnant from her one night with Steele. They did use condoms. But nothing's 100%. And in the midst of her finding out she's pregnant, she is kidnapped from her clinic in Costa Rica by Mendoza.
The crazy town. By the crazy.
So
But during all of this, Steele decides he's not done. So he's going to go back and be like, let's have sex again.
He does. He's determined he's going to go back. He's taking some time away from his team. They're like kind of on furlough. So he goes back to Costa Rica and realizes, or he's headed back to Costa Rica. But before he can leave, it comes in that Maren has not been at her clinic in a week.
Yeah. And like she hasn't, because she speaks to her parents like regularly and she hasn't been in touch with them. She hasn't been in touch with her brother. So like they're panicking because that is not her normal thing.
It's not. No. So, and also I will say I read some opinions and reviews on this book, and I don't normally do that, but I was kind of curious maybe what earlier reviewers have read about it versus, and then people that are reading it right now, because one, it is 7-8 years old. Does it hold up?
Yeah.
And the most common thing is several of the reviews talk about how weak they thought Maren was. I don't think she was weak.
I mean, she single-handedly ran a clinic in Costa Rica after being kidnapped from a clinic in Africa. Like, if that's weak, what's strong?
But even when she gets kidnapped by freaking crazy Mendoza, who has had complete facial reconstruction and fingerprint reconstruction because he is hiding from the authorities because he's a gun runner. Changes his name. All of this, she remains in the moment. She cares for him and does the doctor, doing everything she can to protect herself.
And she drags it out too. Like he could have had like the wraps and stuff off like a week or two before, or like a week before. Like she's like, no, I don't think you're ready for this yet. So like she is planning and making it because he basically has already said like, you're mine. And she's like, this guy is crazy town. Like I need to do what I can to keep him like immobile, basically.
Well, and she was not just protecting herself. She is pregnant. And as a doctor, she, there's a certain mentality of self-protection there too. So I didn't think she is weak. I really, I think she's a good character. I think she's a great fit for Steele. These books, period, have a huge cast of characters with some really big personalities. And I think that her not having such a gigantic personality is okay.
Well, but I think it balances him out because she's very intelligent. She's a very good doctor. She's very compassionate. And that comes across the page really well. And he's so focused. He's so mission driven. Like he needs that compassionate side to like even him out. And they say in this book, in later books, like after the baby is born, like he still is the Iceman, but the minute like Maren is around him or he is holding their daughter, like he melts. Like, and they say that you basically can physically see like that Iceman like melt out, and he's a completely different person around them. But not in a bad way. Like his personality is still the same, but he's so much softer with her and loving with her. And you can feel that compassion that he feels for her.
The next book in the series is my favorite after the storm. It is my favorite in the series. I love it. It's such a great story. However, my favorite couple of the story of the series has not had a book yet.
And they're technically not a couple yet.
They're not, but we know that they are.
We know. And we can only hope that, health problems aside, we get this couple, because I have some strong feelings.
I have very strong feelings about this next couple. It's very stressful.
They're not the book that has gotten pushed back. We don't know when they're coming, if they're coming at all.
Okay. So Leah, did you
Becky,
like this book?
I loved this book. I loved this entire series, actually. And I think Maren and Steele are absolutely perfect for each other. And I loved like reading about the softer side of him and this element of Steele that you don't get even a touch of in the previous books.
Yeah. I really like this story. Obviously, I totally recommended it and kept pushing for us to read this. So
I know you did. You're like, we need to do this book.
Steele is such a great character. He's memorable. And he's the kind of hero I like.
Mm-hmm.
I like that evolution of unfeeling, just in the moment, to melting because the woman he loves is in the room.
Yeah.
So, who would typically like this book?
Any military romance readers or romantic suspense readers would really enjoy this.
I do think we need to say, though, you have to like a steamy romance.
She does steamy well.
Maya Banks writes sexy books. Like, these are steam level 4, but a lot of her other books are 5 and erotica
plus.
So these are a little less in the steam, but I say that I just mean less for her. Yeah. Because this is not like, no one's fading to black and we're totally getting penis by 20%. So,
oh yeah. And this is a really good family series too, because you get all of that family dynamic, whether it is a family member or a member of like one of the other teams, you still feel that family dynamic throughout the series.
For sure. I would agree with that. So would you recommend this book?
I have recommended it after you forced it on me. I say that you didn't force it on me. I voluntarily
did. I totally did.
Well, you said we should read book 7, and I'm like, well, I can't read just book 7. I have to read book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I got to 7. I was like, well, there's more, so I can't just stop here. But yes, I recommend these books because I have recommended them. Now that you recommended them to me.
Well, and
so, thank you.
You're welcome. It is a book worth reading. You can read the story standalone. But honestly, if you like romantic suspense and you like a family series, do yourself a favor and read them all. And they're old enough that there isn't a lot of waiting in the library. Mm-hmm. And they're all on Hoopla. So if you have Hoopla with your library, it's an instant download and read. So,
well, and I think I got all of them, but maybe one, like the day like I was looking for it. I think I only had to wait for one of them.
Yeah.
But
well,
it was
and
only
I do know, like for my local library, these are on the shelf, readable, like, you know, check out a physical book. So if you're someone who likes a physical book, check your actual library, not just your e-library, because these should be on the shelf. No problems. So, because Maya Banks, she's with a large publishing label. Mm-hmm. They should be there. So anyway, that is it for this quick shot of romance. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Happy reading, everybody.
Happy reading.
Find us on Instagram at buzzingaboutromance or on Twitter at buzzingromance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.